Did you love that? I saw it on Instagram and I was like, I'm going to use that on Sunday. Well, good morning, everyone. If we haven't met before, my name is Nate Williams. I'm one of the folks here on staff. Can we make some noise for the band? My goodness. So good. All right, so I want to start off this morning, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and I apologize in advance. I have a deeply personal question to ask you, and you guys are going to answer because, again, I have the microphone. Now, this is a place we're not going to judge each other, okay? So let's just make an agreement right now. Repeat after me. We listen, and we don't judge. And we don't judge, okay? You guys made a promise, so here we go. The question is, how are you sleeping? Okay, someone said bad. Okay, so okay. I've got some different sleep positions that I'm going to put before you. You raise your hand if you sleep like that, said position. Okay, here we go. Again, no judgment here. This is a safe place. All right, first we have the log. Who's sleeping like that? You're sleeping like that, sir? That looks very uncomfortable. No judgment. Looks like it hurts. Okay. Moving on, the fetus. How many folks are sleeping like the fetus? Couple fetus eyes in here, plural fetuses. Okay, you're holding your knees for that long? 7 to 9, not no? Just kind of cut between. Okay, all right. No judgment. Again, no judgment. Here we have the soldier. Who's sleeping like this? Ray, I see you sleeping like that. Okay, rigor mortis has set in. You're just like that. Now here's the thing, no comments on this guy. He is a strong, capable black man. He has a beautiful wife and kids. Stepped on the scale this week. The numbers were higher than they should be. Okay, sorry, I don't even sleep like that. What am I doing? Next one, the fighter. Who's fighting in their slumber? Okay, me too. If you went to any sleepovers as a middle school boy, you gotta be ready, That Sharpie comes out quick. All right. Next, we have the tummy. Who's sleeping like this? Tummy sleepers, okay. Yes, okay, tummy. Now, can we just zoom in on this guy first? Is he crying? Okay, this is a troubled soul we see here. It's a Ravens fan. All right, moving on. I don't watch football, so that's for Joel. All right, next we have the starfish. Who's sleeping like this? No? If you're sleeping like the starfish and you're married, you're a selfish person. You should be ashamed of yourself. Also, do you see the drool, the spittle? Little condensation there on that bottom lip. So, if you're sleeping like this, shame on you. But regardless of how you sleep, sleep is incredible. Sleep is amazing. Did you know that we spend about 1/3 of our life sleeping? Isn't that crazy? If you live to be 75, you spend on average 25 to 26 years sleeping. All the parents were like, that's not enough. I need, 29 years. So sleeping is amazing, but sleeping can be dangerous. Sleeping while you're driving, you could find yourself in the hospital. If you're sleeping while your wife's telling you about her day, you'll be with the Lord, okay? You don't want to do that. This was too long of a clip. All right, so the Bible actually has a lot of warnings in Scripture that talks about sleeping, but it's sleeping more so talking about being spiritually asleep. They give us warnings about what happens when you fall asleep spiritually. So there's a story in Scripture that I want to take a look at today that I think will be able to show us what spiritually being asleep looks like and how we can avoid that from happening. Because just like in the natural, falling asleep spiritually doesn't happen immediately. It happens over time. So I'm going to set up the story. It takes place in Matthew chapter 26, starting in verse 36. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of context before we get into that story. So we'll start here, early part of Matthew. It says, then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him," meaning Jesus, "over to you?" So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. Somebody say, "Oh, sir." Y'all were here last week. You see what I did there? Now, all right, so we've got this going on in the background. So let's fast forward a little bit. Jesus is with the disciples at what we now know is the Last Supper. So the food's been made, the lamb's been cooked to perfection, the herbs and spices are in the air, there's grape juice flowing, and they're making jokes and laughing, all that stuff. So that's what's happening right now. Let's look at verse 20. So when evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12, and while they were eating, he said, "Truly I tell you, one of you will betray me." What? These are close friends that have been together your life. I'm glad you appreciate this. There's people who are, they've been together for years. They've been following Jesus for 3 years. And he's saying, hey, one of you guys is going to betray me. That's a pretty heavy statement to make. I'm guessing that shifted the tone of dinner. Imagine at Friendsgiving this year. All right, you guys are hanging out, you meet at your house, okay? And you put some music on, and it's the whole Thanksgiving shebang. So music's on, the food's being made. You're like, okay, friends and family, reason to celebrate, awesome. The turkey is turkeyed and the stuffing has been stuffed, okay? And then your friend Dion looks at you and says, hey man, somebody at this table is gonna stab me in the back. It would change the vibe of the dinner, right? It would be a little bit different of a vibe. That's what's happening right here. Jesus is saying, one of you guys is going to betray me. So let's jump down to the next verse. Let's see what the disciples say. They were very sad and began to say to him one after the other, surely you don't mean me, Lord. And so thankfully, Jesus gives us a clue as to who it is that's going to betray him. So read the next verse. Jesus replied, the one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me. I'm sure every one of the disciples was like, they're thinking, it's not me, Lord. That gives me no clues as to, we all stuck our hand in the bowl. Which one of us was it? Can you feel the tension in the room? So after they finish eating, it says in scripture that they go to the Mount of Olives. And then we see Jesus having this conversation with the disciples. Then Jesus told them, this very night, you will all fall away on account of me. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I've risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee. Peter replied, even if all fall away on account of you, I never will. Truly, I tell you, Jesus answered, this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. But Peter declared, even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And all of the other disciples said the same thing. So pretty bold claims made by Peter, right? And the other disciples saying, man, no matter what happens, Lord, I'll never forsake you. I'll never disown you. And so that's what we have as the background of our story. You guys with me still? Okay, so we are now going into the Garden of Gethsemane. So looked a little bit like this. Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus is there, and we'll pick back up in our story. So Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them, sit here while I go over there and pray. He took Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, which was James and John, along with him, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. So this seems pretty serious. Like, I don't think Jesus was upbeat his entire life, but I'm guessing the disciples have never seen Jesus act this way. He's saying, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. If I was Jesus's friends, I would be leaned in to this part of the story right now. Like, man, I've never seen you speak this way. If I pulled some of my closest guy friends aside and said, hey guys, like I'm really going through something. Like there's a lot going on in my life. Could you guys just stay up with me for a little bit? And as I try to, wrestle through this, I guarantee you every single one of those friends would be like, yeah, dude, absolutely. Like we got you, bro. So let's see what the disciples do. Going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, my Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will. Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. Could you men keep watch with me for 1 hour? He asked Peter. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Have you guys heard that before? The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Usually for me, I think of that verse every time I drive past McDonald's. Oh my goodness. Those golden arches. Oh, look at those chicken nuggets and the fries. Oh, the fries. Okay, sorry, I'm sweating up here. Just give me a moment to calm down. With a sweet tea, not diet, the real stuff. Okay, but the real stuff. But that phrase, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, is real. Jesus loved these guys, and these guys loved Jesus. They've been following him for 3 years. They were close friends. You would think that they had his back like this. They believed who Jesus said that he was. They had to have seen his distress, but they still fell asleep. They were not spiritually alert. And just to circle back, Peter had said, Lord, I'd die for you. But it's looking like Peter's having a hard time living for the Lord. Anyone been there before? All right, but hey, everybody makes mistakes. No big deal, you fell asleep. This is the wake-up call that they needed. So let's keep reading. Going a little further, he fell onto his face. We read this. Flashback, here we go. He went away a second time and prayed, my Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done. When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. Guys, strike two. What's going on here? I'd also like to note this wasn't a very long prayer, okay? It's like an 8-second prayer. Lord, I don't want the cup, but if I gotta drink it, I'll do it. Amen. Comes back, asleep again. In my mind, it's like they hit the snooze button on Jesus, you know? Are you guys familiar with the snooze button? Some of you guys, that's why you're at the 11 o'clock. You hit the snooze a couple times. No judgment. No judgment here. That snooze button is dangerous. You had all these plans of things that you wanted to do. You're like, you know what? I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start working out tomorrow. I'm going to set that alarm. I'm going to read my Bible before the kids wake up. You know, the alarm goes off and you're like, you know what? I just need like 3 more minutes, 9 more minutes, because that's the default for snooze. You know what I'm saying? Just 9 more minutes. 9 minutes goes by. It pops up again. What do? You snooze it again. You snooze it again. Now, here's the thing. You had every intention to doing the thing that you wanted to do. You set the alarm, but you snoozed through it. You snoozed right through it. So my question for you this morning is, how many times has the Lord nudged you, told you to do something, asked something of you, and you hit snooze on him? What things in your life has God been asking you to change, to modify, to bring life to? Again, and you just hit snooze on the Lord. It's a separate thing for another time. Let's get back into the story. So, Matthew 26:44. So he left them and went away once more, praying a third time. Come on, disciples. Saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer. 3 times, guys. 3 times Jesus asked you to stay awake, to watch and pray. 3 times they fell asleep. So I'm going to quickly summarize the next couple of verses that happen. Jesus gets arrested. Judas betrays him. With a kiss, Jesus is arrested. Soldiers come, guards come, and they arrest him with swords and clubs. Peter cuts off a guy's ear. Jesus picks up said ear, pops it back on. This is some Game of Thrones type stuff. This is wild. And so that scene ends with all the disciples running away, just like Jesus said that was going to happen. So Jesus is brought before the high priest, and the high priest accuses him of blasphemy. So they spit on Jesus, they mock him, they punch him, they slap him, and that brings us to our next scene, which is Peter in the courtyard. You guys still with me? My voice is leaving me, but I'm so close. I'm so close. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Peter in the courtyard, but I'm going to go between Luke and Matthew. Same story, but just a slightly different perspective from both. So here we go. Let's take a look at Luke. Then seizing him, Jesus, they led him away and took him into the house of the high priest. Peter followed at a distance. And when some there had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, Peter sat down with them. A servant girl saw him seated there in the firelight. She looked closely at him and said, this man was with him. But he denied it. Woman, I don't know him. That's what we get from Peter. 3 years of ministry. I don't even know the guy. Back to Matthew chapter 26. Then he went out to the gateway where another servant girl saw him and said to the people there, this fellow was with Jesus of Nazareth. He denied it again with an oath. I don't know the man. Peter, that's twice. That's 2 times. Let's look at the next chapter, the next verse. After a while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, surely you are one of them. Your accent gives you away. Then he began to call down curses. He's cussing now. And he swore to them, I don't know the man. That's the 3rd time, Peter. Does this scene feel a little familiar? 3 opportunities, 3 times Peter fails. So let's go back to Luke. Peter replied, and this is the 3rd time he said this, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Just as he was speaking, the rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. And he, meaning Peter, went outside and wept bitterly. In my own way, I've been right where Peter is, asleep, denying the Lord. Anyone been there before? Now, here's the thing. Maybe you're like, I'm not sure. I don't know if I've been there before. Well, I've got 3 questions for you to help you figure out, man, have I been spiritually asleep before? Am I spiritually asleep right now? First question, can you see what God is doing? First question to ask yourself is, can you see what God is doing? The scene back in the garden was huge. Jesus, the Lord had been setting up our redemption story since Adam and Eve. So all throughout the Old Testament, God had been setting this up. Through Abraham, God being faithful and giving him a son in Isaac. All the things that happened with Noah, all of these things, the Lord had been setting things up. The miraculous birth of Jesus, all of this was a setup to this moment in the garden, and Peter is asleep. He's sleeping. Is it possible that God is doing something in your life right now and you can't see it because you're asleep? Is it possible that God's trying to move in your relationship, in your marriage, but you can't see it at all because you're asleep? Is he moving in your family? Is he moving, doing something in the lives of your kids, but you can't see it because you're asleep? Is that possibly could be what's happening right now? Is God moving right now in your singleness and you can't see it because you're asleep? It's hard to see anything when you're asleep. So we do something at home. Every Friday we have a family fun Friday. And what we do is that we watch movies, all right? So every family fun Friday, we pick out a movie. My son has been super into Kung Fu Panda, okay? Super into it, all right? There's 4 Kung Fu Panda movies. It's been a month of karate and violence, okay? So that's what it's been in my house. So typically what a family fun Friday when we're watching a movie looks like, I spend about 10, 15 minutes looking for the remote. It's gone. We've got a baby in the house. He's been throwing things in the trash can. Things that aren't trash, like cell phone, keys, the remote. And he's also been putting stuff in the toilet. And we've been going through toilet paper like nobody, whole rolls. I'm talking fresh out the Charmin. And this is triple ply in there. So anyway, so that's my life. Now, I'll make the family some of my Nasty Nate's kettle corn. You guys know what I'm talking about? Have I made some for you? I'll fix that I got you next Sunday. All right, so I'll make some popcorn. I'll hand it out to my family. I'll give it to the kids. They got the pillows and the blankets all set up, and they're cozied up on the couch. And I just sit there and I just smile. And I close my eyes and I think, like, Lord, thank you for my wife, my 3 beautiful kids. Like, Lord, thank you. And as I close my eyes, I fall asleep for the whole rest of the movie. There are 4 Kung Fu Pandas. I've seen 11 minutes altogether. Now you might be thinking, Nate, how could you? This is Family Fun Friday. How'd you fall asleep? You're supposed to be watching this movie with your kids. The thing is, I didn't plan to fall asleep. I got comfortable. I closed my eyes. I fell asleep. Question number 2. Do you panic when pressure comes? That's exactly what happened with Peter. Peter was super bold at the table. Lord, I'll never forsake you. Never, ever. These guys over here, they might, but Lord, never me. I won't do it. But as soon as those guards came with the swords and the clubs, Peter fell apart. When the pressure came, Peter was not ready. He denied even knowing Jesus. 3 years of ministry, denied knowing him. What happened? Peter was not spiritually prepared. He was not watching and praying the way the Lord asked him to. He was sleeping. And so when you're caught off guard, you're liable to do anything. You'll say things that you don't mean to say. You'll do things that you don't mean to do. You'll go places that you're not supposed to go. When you're caught off guard, you're liable to do anything. It's because you're not spiritually prepared. Question number 3 to ask yourself, have you drifted further than you thought you would go? Again, let's look at Peter's life. How can somebody go from, Lord, I love you, I would die for you. Lord, these guys might fall away, but I'm not going to do that. I'd never do that. How do you go from that to denying that you even know him? And keep in mind, this wasn't months between these scenes. This wasn't weeks or days. Hours later, Peter's saying, I don't even know you, Lord. What happened? When did this drift happen with Peter? The thing is, I don't believe that it happened in the courtyard as people are pressuring him and asking him, what's your relationship with Jesus? I think that this happened in the garden when he was supposed to be watching and praying. Jesus said, watch and pray with me. Their response was to fall asleep. They were not watching. They were not praying. They were present, but they were not engaged with what was happening. They weren't being rebellious. They weren't being sinful. They were just being idle. That's what being spiritually asleep looks like. Because you can come to church every Sunday. You can serve on the worship team. You can serve on the production team or in guest services or kids. You can come here every single Sunday, but still be asleep spiritually. You can be a part of a small group. You could be out here serving the community. You could be meeting with Christians all throughout the week, but still on the inside, your heart's not in it. I know that I've had that heart posture before. You're present, but you're not really there. You're kind of like this clip here.
I'm here so I won't get fined. I'm just here so I won't get fined. Hey, I'm here so I won't get fined.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just here so I don't get fined. And if I can be honest with you guys, and you guys promise not to leave the church and run out the doors and go, can you guys promise me that, please? I see some nodding. You're undecided, and that's okay. No, that's all right. I was in this exact spot that Peter was in, December of 2025. This isn't years ago. This was a couple months ago. Tired from the move, exhausted, doing renovation stuff. I don't know how to lay down LVP, but I did it. My back hurts a lot currently. It's yours too? There's a salon pause that you can put on there. It helps. Yeah, I'll give you some. She got you some? Okay, that BioFreeze. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked, but exhausted from the renovations, out just tired. I was overworking myself. Christmas was awesome, but we had how many Christmas rehearsals? We had 2 that lasted hours? At least hours. I was exhausted. And so when that alarm went off to spend time with the Lord in the morning, snooze. This is me. The dude with the clicker and the microphone. December, snooze. And so I found myself doing things just not with my heart in it. Planning worship sets. All that with my heart not in it because I was tired and I wasn't going to the source that fills me up. And so January of this year, I'm not saying 2024. I'm not saying 4 years ago. January, what is it, March? 2 months ago. The Lord was like, Nate, wake up. You're missing it, man. You're missing it. I had gotten so busy doing stuff for the Lord that I wasn't doing stuff with him. Does that make sense? And so can I tell you some good news? Jesus is in the business of waking people up. He doesn't want you to be asleep. He doesn't want me to be asleep. And so I stopped hitting snooze in the morning. I was like, all right, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do it. And what's wild is that we moved in our house in November. We closed in October, moved in November, all of December, just being honest, hitting snooze and was not spending time with the Lord. And my kids, when they would come in at 1, 2, 3 in the morning because they were scared or there was thunder or whatever, new house, I understand. It's horrible to get a foot in the back, at 2 in the morning. It's very jarring. But that was going on for 2 months. The Lord woke me up in January, and it took maybe 2 or 3 days for my kids to go to our room and see that we weren't there, for them to be like, where are they? We're on the couch reading the Bible. It took 2, maybe 3 days of them going to where we weren't anymore and seeing where we actually were. They're like, I know that my dad used to be in this room. Like, where is he? You can find me on the couch and I haven't missed a day. I have not missed a day. 6 o'clock is hard. It is early. I'm tired. But I just imagine my little girl's face going out to that couch and not seeing me there. And for her to think, what changed? What's different? So I hit snooze. I slept in. She can faithfully find me with a blanket that's brown. It stinks a little bit because we haven't washed it yet. We can talk about that later. But I am there faithfully every morning at 6. And that's not me bragging, saying like, look. I'm saying I was right there with Peter. Close to God, but not close to him. You know what I mean? And so I want to take a look at the very next conversation that Peter and Jesus has. Jesus dies, comes back to life. He meets the disciples out and they're having breakfast together. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Yes, Lord, he said. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs. Again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered, yes, Lord, you know. You know that I love you. Jesus said, take care of my sheep. The third time he said to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time. Do you love me, he said. Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you, Jesus said. Feed my sheep. Did you catch that? He asked Peter 3 times, do you love me? 3 times Peter fell asleep. 3 times Peter denied Jesus. And in a full circle moment, the Lord gives him 3 opportunities to say, yes, Lord, I love you. And I didn't have space to do this in the message before. The word love that they use in those first 2 verses, I'll try to go back one. When Jesus is asking Simon, do you love me? The word that he uses in the Greek is agape love. Do you sacrificially, more than anything, it's the top way of loving, agape love. Do you love me, agape love? And the way that Peter responds is like, yes, Lord, I phileo love you, which is like a deep affection, not the sacrificial. So Jesus asks him again, do you love me, agape love? Do you sacrifice, like the highest form? Do you love me that way? And Peter says, Lord, you know that I phileo love you, like a brotherly, a deep friendship. And the 3rd time that Jesus asks, he doesn't ask him, do you agape love me? Do you phileo love me? Jesus meets Peter where he's at. He doesn't ask for the love that he deserves. He says, I'll take what you got. If you can love me this much, I'll take it. That broke. He deserves this. And there's a lot of days I can only give him this. And this is okay because this is better than nothing. But I feel like the Lord's saying, you've been asleep. Wake up. You've been asleep for months, for years. Wake up. I'm not asking for this. I'll meet you where you're at. You can love me this much. We'll get to here. But love me this much. Peter says, Lord, you know that I love you. And when I see that, it says it's never too late to wake up. It is never too late to wake up from falling asleep. It's never too late. No matter how many times you've fallen, no matter how many times you have denied Jesus, it's never too late to wake up and say, Lord, I love you. Don't sleep through the life that God paid. He paid for it. Don't sleep through it. The beautiful thing is that I jokingly asked this morning, how are you sleeping? But the question still is, how are you sleeping? Where in your life are you asleep? Because today, this morning, you can wake up like I did in January of this year. You can wake up. And sometimes we have fallen asleep and we don't even know that we've fallen asleep, like Kung Fu Panda. You've fallen asleep and you don't even know it. But right now, I feel like the Holy Spirit's doing something in your heart right now. Please do not ignore that. Don't hit snooze on that feeling that you're feeling right now. You know it's time to wake up.